Hello, Paulo. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, teacher.
How are you?
Uh, Pretty fine. Thank you.
Nice, nice. Okay. So let's start.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. Well, the last time we were checking about the first part of the listening section, right? Okay. So today we're going to continue with another section, but this time we continue with the professor uh, lecture only. It's a lecture. Okay. And on the test day, you had to expect 3 or 4 professor-only lectures followed by 6 questions. The professor will give a short lecture on academic topic, and you cannot replay the lecture. Okay. Always the time in this kind of lectures, there are like 5 minutes of lecture. So you have to take as much notes as you can. But remember, it's important to identify which part of the notes you have to take. So for that, you have to focus on the structure of, for example, an essay. They have the intro, body, conclusion, and to recognize the examples that could give you the answer of this. Okay, so let's see. Um, let's listen first. Here I have this. The lecture will develop predictably. The ideas will progress from general to specific to general. Note those points below. Expect questions on those points. We have it here. So the professor will insert his or her opinion throughout. Opinion insertions points are often in conclusions at the end. Okay. So here we want to talk about Aristotle's thing. Okay. So let me open. Okay. Here we go. I'm gonna show you. Here we go again. Okay, that's the one. This is the lecture. Can you see it?
Yes, it's
Okay.
visible.
So at the time you will be listening this. Let me see if we can reproduce. Okay. 36. Tell me if you can listen.
No, we cannot.
No, not yet. Okay. Let me.
No, no. I'm not listening.
Okay. This is stuck. Wait. Okay, here we go. Oh, this is stuck.
Sample. Office hours conversation. Directions. Listen to a sample conversation, then answer the questions on the next page. Practice. Content questions.
It's
Direction.
very, it's
Listen
very
to each
low, the
prompt,
volume,
then
teacher.
answer the question.
You hear it?
No,
Practice. Purpose question.
very, very low.
Directions.
Very low.
Listen to each prompt.
Let me check.
Practice. Single answer. Practice. Multi-answer detail question. Directions. Listen to a lecture in a composition class.
According to Aristotle, there are three modes of
Okay, so there you go. Okay, I can you hear well? Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you well, but the audio, no.
Okay, let's see if it works.
Directions.
Yes,
Listen
yes,
to a lecture in a
Can you hear it?
yes, yes, it's okay now.
Okay, here we go. So let's pay attention.
Yes, I can hear. It's a little low, the volume.
Okay, here we go.
composition class.
According to Aristotle, there are three modes of appeal: logos, pathos, and ethos. Let's start with logos. Logos, or logic, appeals to reason. One way to appeal to reason is by using deduction. Deduction, and we'll come back to this later on, is a form of reasoning in which you make a conclusion based on a series of related facts or premises. When deducing, you start with a major premise, such as, all English teachers are poor. This general statement is followed by a specific statement or minor premise, such as, Bob is an English teacher. From these two premises, a conclusion logically follows. Bob is poor. Induction is another form of logic that appeals to reason. When inducing, you combine a series of related facts, such as Joan loves apples, Joan loves blueberries, Joan loves mangoes. From these facts, we can make a conclusion. Joan loves fruit. Pathos, in contrast, is an appeal to the emotions. By appealing to the emotions, the arguer can evoke sympathy from an audience. Sympathy, in turn, makes an argument more persuasive. Next, we have ethos. Ethos is an appeal to character. For example, from whom would you buy a laptop computer? A man in a business suit or a man in a t-shirt? Ethically, some might eschew the man in a t-shirt being the antithesis of business attire, therefore unethical, not trustworthy. Those, then, are Aristotle's three appeals. It's important to remember that a successful argument, a persuasive argument, combines all three appeals.
Now get ready to respond. According to the lecture, what are Aristotle's three appeals? Use examples to support your summary. You have 20 seconds to develop your response and 60 seconds to...
Okay, so this is a lecture. They have the same. Okay, talking about this. Okay, now let's analyze. And here we have three things like logos, pathos, and ethos. Okay, I'm gonna send it to you so you can check. You can review this later. I'm gonna send you by WhatsApp. Let me see. Okay. When we finish, we'll send you. So let's analyze the content. Okay. So the introduction will be short. If you are not paying attention, you will miss the topic. What are they talking about? If you miss the topic, you will miss the most important part of the lecture. Okay. He says, here the topic with, according to Aristotle, an argument can be made more persuasive by using three appeals: logos, pathos, and ethos. Then they start talking about each appeals. For starting the topic, let's start with logos, give an example, and in the same idea of the logos, they have the example and the conclusion for each. Okay, so you will see, you identify where they start. Let's start with logos. That's kind of obvious when you're starting. And let's work through an example. They introducing an obvious example, they saying. And at the end of this, as you can see, deductions can be pretty persuasive. It closes our formal structure, leaves no doubt as to Bob's financial situation relative to his profession. Okay, so all this in the first part, the first question. Then you will see they introduce another word, is induction. Have the examples here, the main examples such as Yuan. Then at the end, the conclusion. So all this, you can see that is the explanation of that. Then again, another one, the fetus. In contrast, it is an appeal to the emotions. We have the examples from the movies, from E.T., Titanic, Jaws. They play with your emotions. And at the end, conclusion, another opinion. It says, what better way to evoke audience anger an oil company that to place a photo of an oil-covered pelican next to an article about an oil spill. Okay, they are focused on that. Then see another topic, that is the ethos, the example, and the end, the conclusion. They finish giving what was once ethically unacceptable, wearing jeans to work, is now perfectly acceptable. And that's the premise that you will see some people wearing different things. Again, says in the conclusion, says in the opinion, those that are Aristotle's three appeals. It's important to remember that a successful argument, a persuasive argument, it combines all three appeals. He gave an example. Now the predictions, warning opinion says, there is no guarantee that a politician seeking office or any other argument will persuade an audience, for if any of the three appeals come under fire, the audience will fail to be persuaded. Okay. So here at the general example of this, they call President Obama as a main example, explaining that he had the three appeals. We can observe the three appeals on his behavior. Okay, so doing that, we can start answering the questions. But firstly, let's give a reading from here. I think I can share with you. It is on. Yeah. Let's start reading this. So we can understand better. So please, Pablo, can you first the first and second paragraphs?
According to Aristotle, an argument can be made more persuasive by using three appeals: logos, pathos, and ethos. Let's start with logos. Logos, or logic, appeals to reason. One way to appeal to reason is by using deduction. Deduction, and well, we will come back to this later on, is a form of a reasoning in which you made a conclusion based on a serial of related facts or premises. Let's work through an example. First, you start with a major premise, such as, oh, I don't know, all English teachers are poor. This general statement is followed by a specific statement or minor premise. In this case, Bob is an English teacher. From these two premises, a conclusion logically follows. Bob is poor. Put it all together and it reads like this. All English teachers are poor. Bob is an English teacher. Bob is poor. As you can see, deductions can be pretty persuasive. Its clause or formal structure leaves no doubt as to Bob's financial situations relative to his profession.
It's relative. Guillermo, number 3, please.
Okay. Induction is another form of logic that appears to reason. When inducing, you combine a series of related facts such as John loves apples, John loves blueberries, John loves mangoes. For these facts, we can make a conclusion. In this case, John loves fruit. Does she love all fruit? We don't know. She might abhor apricots. As you can see, induction is not as closer or conclusive as deduction. Still, add number to inductive mix and the logic behind an argument. Whether the investing in a company can be quite appealing. For example, ABC company made a $20 billion profit last year. ABC made $40 billion profit this year. ABC will make 60 billion profit next year. Conclusion, you do the math.
Thank you. Please, Tania, number 4.
Okay. Pathos, in contrast, is an appeal to the emotions. By appealing to the emotions, the arguer can evoke sympathy from the audience. Sympathy, in turn, makes an argument more persuasive. Movies regularly employ pathos. Did you cry when E.T. finally went home? Were you terrified when Titanic sank or when Jaws rose out of the water, teeth flashing? If so, then the director persuaded you that two-dimensional images on a movie screen are so real, so lifelike. You reacted to them emotionally. Pathos can also support logos. For example, photographs often support news stories. What better way to evoke audience anger to an oil company than to place a photo of an oil-covered pelican next to an article about an oil spill?
Thank you. Pablo, 5, please.
Yes. Next, we have ethos. Ethos is an appeal to character. For example, from whom would you buy a computer? A man in a business suit or a man in a t-shirt? Ethically, some might eschew the man in a t-shirt. A t-shirt begins the antithesis of business attire, therefore unethical, not trustworthy. However, such ethical conclusions have been turned on their heads, especially in America. Cases in point, whenever Apple introduced a new product, CEO Steve Jobs introduced the products wearing jeans and a t-shirt. Does Jobs' choice of clothes diminishing the quality of the product? No. If anything, Jobs' casual looks enhance Apple's cool factor. As you can see, what was once ethically unacceptable, wearing jeans to work, is now perfectly acceptable.
Guillermo, please, 6.
Okay. Them are Aristotle's three appeals. It's important to remember that a successful argument, a persuasive argument, combines all three appeals. Look at President Obama. As an argument for president, his life story was quite compelling. Why? Because it was defined by the three appeals. As a young, he was a community organizer, ethos and pathos. He then studied law at Harvard, logos and ethos. After he graduated, he taught constitutional law at the University of Chicago, logos and ethos. He then became the U.S. Senator, logos, pathos, and ethos combined. These three appeals made Barack Obama a persuasive argument to be a president of the United States.
Tanya, the last one, please.
Okay. That said, keep in mind, however, that even when supported by all three appeals, there is no guarantee that a politician seeking office or any other argument will persuade an audience. For if any of the three appeals came under the fire, the audience will fail to be persuaded.
Thank you. Can you hear the sound? The thing is, like, these people have this, the elections for president. You know, I'm sorry.
No, I cannot hear.
Okay, very good. Okay, now, as we can see here, we are talking about the three appeals of Aristotle. There are logos, pathos, and ethos. And at the end, they combined in one example with Barack Obama as a president. Okay, so that he can persuade people because of all his history is well combined. Now, having that in mind, we will we will check the questions here. Okay, and the first question says, again, this is in this part is also multiple choice questions. So what you had to do is to select what option and click on it, depending. What do you think? So here you will listen the directions that says, now get ready to answer the 6 questions. Answer each based on what it stated or implied in the lecture. Number 1, what is the topic of the lecture? A, Aristotle's philosophy. B, Aristotle's writing style. C, Aristotle's ancient lesson. Or D, Aristotle's modes of appeal. What do you think?
I think number D.
Yeah, is the letter D.
Letter D, Aristotle's modes of appeal. Correct. That is a correct answer. They are talking about the appeals, the 3 appeals of Aristotle's, the modus of appeal. Second question says, what is the purpose of the lecture? The one you listened. A, to demonstrate 3 different types of persuasive argument. B, to illustrate how an argument can be made more persuasive. C, to highlight Aristotle's influence. Or D, to highlight how audiences have been persuaded.
A.
A, I would say.
A, to demonstrate 3 different types of persuasive argument.
I think
Okay.
A or B or D. I don't know. D.
Okay. D, you say D. To highlight how audiences have been persuaded. Okay. So in this one, the correct answer is letter B. To illustrate how an argument can be made more persuasive. They are And here, to demonstrate three different types of persuasive argument, no, they are not saying three types of arguments. They are saying three appeals that you can use to use or to be more persuasive at the time that you're giving an argument. Okay, like the example that I say from Barack Obama is just one argument, one example that is more persuasive than the others. Okay, and so the correct answer is letter B.
Okay.
Then the third question says, according to Aristotle, which appeals make a lecture more persuasive? Select 3. This is a 2-point answer. In this case, there's A, ethos, B, vetus, C, thetus, D, chaos, or E, logos. I think it's kind of obvious, right?
Number A, C, and E.
E and E, correct. So as in all the lecture, they were mentioning these 3 appeals. Let's say ethos, fetus, and logos. Okay, so those are the correct answers. Now, here and like in the other, you have to listen to one spot, one part of the lecture, and then you have to choose the correct answer. Right now, I have seen that this audio doesn't have it, so we're gonna skip it and go for question number 5. That it says, the professor describes President Obama's personal history. Put President Obama's personal history in the proper order. This is a 2-point question. So we have to put in order this A, B, C, D, which goes first, next, and so on. So A, graduate from Harvard Law. B, became a U.S. Senator. C, was a community organizer. And D, taught constitutional law. What do you think?
I think the C is number 1.
You will see. Then
Graduated from Harvard. A. Became a U.S. Senator and taught constitutional law. I will go for it.
okay. So here, the first one, yeah, it is C. The second, it is A, correct? Now here, the 3 and 4, it says first became a U.S. Senator and then taught constitutional law. And this is upside down. First, it was he taught constitutional law and then he became a U.S. Senator. So, and the correct answer should be D and then B.
Okay.
Correct. And the last question for this is that in the lecture, the professor describes Aristotle's 3 appeals and their function in an argument. Indicate whether each of the following is a function of Aristotle's 3 appeals. This is a 3-point question. So we have to say yes or no. The one says, logos appeals to reason using deduction or induction. Yes or no? What do you think?
Logos filter is using deduction or using. Yes.
Yes. Ethos appeals to logos. Yes or no?
Oh.
What?
I think.
We say no.
Yes, I think yes.
You think yeah? Okay.
I don't know. I forgot that.
In
What's
this
it?
case, no. Ethos doesn't appeal to logos. Okay, they are different. So in this case, no.
Okay.
Okay. Next, fetus appeals to the emotion using both words and images. Yes or no?
Yes. This yes. Features
Yes.
is functions.
Okay, correct. Then logos combines both ethos and fetus.
Yes. No.
Nope.
That was a no.
Yeah, there was a no.
Ah.
It doesn't combine. Logos don't combine. Ethos appeals to character. Yes or no?
I think it's yes. Appeals to ethics.
Correct. So
Oh.
this one is yes. Okay. So as you see, here we have different ways of the questions. You see? So like these ones, you have to select, you have to click on these options, thinking what is correct or not. Most of them are multiple choice questions, and the others you have to put in order the words in that. Okay, but now in here we have checked only the professor, this type of lecture, like the professor only. There also exists many types of lecture that I'm gonna show you. Okay, let me see. Here we go. So that we have content questions, we have purpose questions, we have detailed questions, a single answer, we have detailed questions but with a multiple answer, function questions, direct attitude questions, inferred attitude questions, inferred action questions, and that's okay. So those are the examples that you could have at the day of the exam. So how can you recognize the type of questions you will see there? The content questions measure your ability to synthesize and paraphrase the main information in an office hours prompt. Content questions can be paraphrased a variety of ways. For example, what is the student's problem? As you can see, in this type of question, what they want is your comprehension about the whole lecture, because they ask specific things or general things about the lecture you just listened to. Okay, there aren't perfect answers. Yeah. So here is more like looking for synonyms, looking for the one who matches with the question you are answering. Okay. Because they ask directly, straight, what is the main purpose of the lecture? the question is direct. So it's not exactly in just one type of vocabulary that you need to focus on. They're asking about the whole lecture that you summarize. Maybe you understand what is the main topic there. In the purpose question, as the name say, they're asking why. No, the question they're asking using a why given to purpose. For example, like, why is the student seeking the professor's help? Why does the student visit her professor? Why does the professor want to talk to the student? All of them start with why. You see? So, like in this example, it says, why does the student visit the professor? So you're giving a reason. What was the main reason? Like in the previous, what was the complete purpose of that? Yes. To learn how to write better essay, to find out why she got a low score essay, discuss the pros and cons, like in the previous we did in the last time. Also, we have detailed questions with a single answer. In this type of questions, it measures your ability to identify facts that support the student's problem and the professor's advice giving process. For example, here it says, what does the student say about her opinion? Why does the professor mention statistics? Why does the professor like the student's topic? Okay, we have this example. He's asking for details. And here, detailed questions, multiple answers. What does the professor say about the length of the essay? If you remember, they ask, and not in a specific, you can choose more than one answer. And also have function questions, authentic speech patterns you need to find. The function questions measure your ability to judge how a speaker uses natural speech patterns, such as tone, hesitation, self-correction, repetitions, restatements, items, and homophones distractors. So you can find all of this as a distractor when you see natural speech. Yeah. So we have, for example, question first. For this type of question type, you will hear the instruction followed by a question. You will then hear a dialogue segment and answer the question. Like in the said in the first one, that you need to listen again. But at the time, you only listen that little part, not all those. Also, the segment first. For this question type, you will hear the instruction and an extended dialogue segment first. You will then hear the question. The question will be based on the replay segment on the conversation. So again, there are two types, like when you listen a little part of the complete lecture, you have to decide which is the correct answer, according what this little part. Okay. Then we have direct attitude questions. Like attitude questions measure your ability to identify a speaker's opinion, also called position or stance, degree or certainty, and or feelings. Direct attitude means the speaker's opinion is stated as a fact. Direct attitude questions can be paraphrased as a variety of ways. So here, as the attitude is the way we talk, is the fact of what we can understand for real about the speaking. For example, What does the professor think about short essays? Here they are asking what is her position, her attitude according to short essays. So here you need to know and you need to understand that part. Then the inferred attitude questions. This inferred attitude means the speaker's opinion or position is not stated as a fact in the conversation. Instead, it is suggested or implied from the suggestion or implication. You must infer a conclusion based on the facts presented. Inferred attitude questions can be paraphrased a variety of ways. For example, what does the professor imply about long essays? Here, the word imply is the key. It says inferred, implied, something that you can understand based on what you read. And this based on the actions, there's inferred actions questions measure your ability to identify what actions a speaker will do next or in the future. To answer this question type, you must make an inference based on the facts presented in the conversation. Inferred actions questions can be paraphrased in variety ways. For example, what will the student do next? What will the student probably do tonight? They are implying, they are inferring something that could happen in the little future. Okay, in the short future, depending on the the um, the evidence, depending on the evidence that they have, what do you imply or what they say about what is going to happen next? Okay. So at the time of this listening, you could find all these type of questions in both, like in the professor only and in the conversations. They can combine those different types of questions. Okay, so the important thing also is to identify between each paragraph or introduction of everything. You need to find, you have to recognize what are the signal words, because remember, the signal words are very important to understand where they are introducing, where they introducing new comments, where introducing an example, where they are finishing an example, or giving context to the text that you are reading. So for example, you can find some of them like so now that we've concerned, okay, consequently, as a result, now it appears that, but let's move on to, I think, in conclusion, likewise, in theory, similarly, the hypothesis is that, etc., etc. And all the rest that we already seen, like we have seen, like to add information, to give examples, to clarify, to present consequence, to generalize information, to compare and contrast, to present sequential information, and to summarize. With all of them, we know that we could have more, we could have the key word or the key idea of what they are going to ask about. Okay, so till here, Do you have any question?
No, for my
I
part.
don't have any. This one.
Everything
Not
okay?
at all.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, this is kind of the last week because the next week is the last. So you have to take in mind that you have to do your next simulation. Have you done the first one? All of you did the first simulation?
Yes.
Mhm. Okay. So when we finish the course the next week, you have to complete, you have to do the second simulation so you can check how much you improve, and also depending if you want or not to receive your certification for this course, for being taking this course in executive English certification. Okay, it's part of that. Okay, and also, yes, Tanya.
Teacher, do you?
Uh-huh. Can you hear me?
Sorry. Yes, yes.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I was saying that this application that we download that is official TOEFL IBT. We have to do the both one, the first one and the last one. You said the second one.
Uh-huh.
So
Yes.
in the part of we don't have a score in the part of speaking and writing. So do you mean executive English will give us a certification? What is the score?
No, I mean, I call certification what executive English gives like a diploma. It's not exactly a certification. It's more like a diploma or something like that. We call certificate because it's something that, as the name says of this thing, because it's according what you, that it says you took this course. No, you took, and this is the grade of this course. No, that you are having right now. Not exactly about the IBT TOEFL. No.
Okay, I thought it was the score of the IBT.
No. It is according to this course. I mean,
Okay.
because some people need this certificate from English executive. Okay, let's call diploma so you don't confuse. This to receive this diploma to present at work or maybe to present in some other areas. So if you need it, you have to take both simulations and also finish your calls that actually you both are with me. So I think it's only missing one, actually one or two, and we finish with the calls, and that's it.
Okay.
Okay. So for today's class, please answer this little survey, and if you don't have any question,
Teacher, sorry. So the next week is the last one. Yes.
the next week is the last week you have classes.
Okay. Okay.
Correct.
Teacher, what are going to do the next week?
The next week we're gonna practice. Actually, they're missing the part of speaking, the first section of the speaking, because we start like a week later when we were finishing about the speaking, and we're gonna take we're gonna revise part of the speaking. I think we can do both to recheck about the integrated and independent speaking, so we can practice a little more.
That would be good.
And also, if you have any question according to that, we can solve. Okay.
Okay, teacher.
So thank you so much, and I will see you next. Have a nice day.